everyone. We're going to finding out what you think about all of this. GB News viewer and listener, Francis Moore. Francis is a former CEO of a large pensions firm, and he's in Salisbury this morning. Very good to see you, Francis. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Eamonn. Good morning, Isabel. So good to be back with both of you again.
Very warm welcome back.
Very good. What do you think of what you're hearing here? I mean, where do you stand? Do you think this is a Brexit breakthrough?
I think it is. It's not without its potential pitfalls. We've got the ERG to meet this evening, I think at about 6 o'clock in the Commons. And there's going to be an issue still around sovereignty, as in terms of the Stormont block or Stormont break. Is that when we really get into the text? Now, I downloaded one of Rishi's bit of propaganda yesterday or PR yesterday. I think Rishi had a very good day yesterday. I mean, he was really in control. You could make sniping comments about Ursula von der Leyen and beating the king, and you can do lots of sniping. Of course we can do that. But that's not really the point. The point is that there's a new, relationship with the EU, less confrontational. I think as a Brexiteer, I would say we shouldn't be frightened about that at all. We really shouldn't be frightened. The EU is still a great trading bloc. We're out of its silly rules and requirements. That's the best place that we can be in. So we can, to some extent, pick and choose. But I am still slightly concerned for Ulster, in the sense that the Stormont block break is actually slightly counterintuitive as to the Good Friday Agreement. So it's requiring quite a lot of resource to look into EU new regulations that might apply to Northern Ireland. And we've also got to slightly worry that, the EU is involved at all, because in a purest sense, sovereignty-wise, the EU has nothing to do with England, Scotland or Wales, so why should it have anything to do with Northern Ireland? So there is a lingering concern, but in practical terms, and I think you have to commend Richie here, he's done an amazing job in stripping away that Irish Sea border. I would still prefer to see a border between Northern Ireland and Ireland.
Yeah, but you don't live there. You don't live there. You can't really say that, Francis. It's a whole new ball game once you go there.
I know, Eamonn. You would know much better than I do. So, but as a unionist, that would be a perfect outcome.
Yes.
However,
what do you think about Boris Johnson? I mean, he came in, he promised the world, he was full of bluster, and obviously he provided a lot of this mess in the first place. How has he emerged from all of this?
Well, I hope tamed, to be honest. Yes, Mrs. May actually caused or Lady May as she now is, caused the initial mess, a real mess. And Boris sort of followed up. He told so many mistruths about the border and the Irish Sea. He really let down the Northern Ireland, because he just told mistruth after mistruth. And in the end, there it was, the Irish, the sea border and the Irish Sea, causing so many issues. You speak as a Brexiteer,
Francis. You speak as a Brexiteer, but you think so far you're not too threatened by this. You're not too worried. You might think this is the best of a bad deal.
Well, I when I was last on, I was trying to be very positive, and you were all quite surprised. And it's the same today. I'm very positive. Rishi's a bright man. He may not have all the political nous. But if he puts Boris in a box for a bit, that's no bad thing, because Boris has really made a mess of things. So he's had to come in and tidy things up.
Okay.
So I'm actually positive. I'm not saying there are not going to be some issues because, as I said, the Stormont block break will need to be looked at very carefully.
It's early days.
Because the EU still has its tentacles into us. But, if at least we can see trade flowing again between the UK, there is another bit that hasn't been picked up by some commentators, that the Northern Ireland meeting isn't really.
We're just beginning to lose you there, Francis. Francis, we've just lost you. I'm going to say thank you so much for giving us your thoughts and analysis this morning. I just want to get one final thought from Leon Emirali before we say goodbye to Leon, and it's a minor point. But what did you make of the Dear Rishi comments from Ursula von der Leyen? I mean, she seemed charmed, spellbound almost, and the long, lingering smiles and looks into each other's eyes all throughout the press conference. I found myself feeling, oh, crikey, these two really do like each other.
It was very cuddly and warm, wasn't it? And I think that there is a warmth between the two that we haven't seen between a Prime Minister and a European Union leader, really, for forever. So the fact that Rishi's been able to elicit some of that warmth and elicit some of that goodwill, I think, is a good sign, and it is a sign of perhaps normalisation of a relationship between the UK and the EU.
A technocrat loving, I saw it described as. Leon Emirali, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. So you heard what our friend Francis had to say there, a GB News viewer and listener. You're very welcome to take part as well and have your say. We're going to